Well, here we go again. Dick Heiser here at Edenton Bay Clay Works and with Picosan Arts over in Columbia. We're working on another simple project that you could do at home. All you have to have is some clay, a bowl, and then it's up to you. You can make a pattern if you want. This is Wolfgang. He's one of my little patterns. Doesn't have to have a pattern. Um, there's been a lot of talk lately about flattening the curve. Well, we're going to be curving the flat. So what we have is we have a clay slab here that we've rolled out. Let's set up for a little while the great rolling pin, my slab roller. And then we have our pattern, Wolfgang. And then we have this bowl. Now this is an older bowl that I've had for several years, and it's got some rings inside. It's a bisque fired bowl. Now these rings are just magic marker, but it's a bisque fired bowl. So I can lay clay directly inside of this and it's not going to stick. If you want to, you can use a metal bowl, you can use a plastic bowl, but if you do, you should put something in there like plastic or something to keep your clay from sticking to your bowl. So here's what we're going to do. This is going to be actually probably a two-part, because what I want to do is make Wolfgang today, and then we're going to let Wolfgang dry. We're going to clean him up a little bit, and we're going to do some decoration so I can show you a little bit about what I do with underglazes. So anyway, we've got Wolfgang here, and I'm going to get this cutting tool, which is actually just an old needle tool. It's just what I prefer, and I'm going to go around Wolfgang. Now, if I don't follow Wolfgang's pattern completely, I'm okay with that. One thing to note, when I do slabs, especially things that are going to be, we'll call them flat, I don't want them to warp, so I try to keep the slab as flat as possible. That is, I don't bend it until I need to or want to. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this all the way around. So there, Wolfgang's cut out. Now, you see this? This is what's left. I really don't go to the edges of the slab because that can cause you warping problems if you do flat things. So we're going to lay that there out of the way. And here's Wolfgang. Now, I try to keep him as flat as we can until we're ready to put him in the bowl. Now, I'm going to show you these lines. You see those lines? Yeah, they're just magic marker. They're in there just as a reference. Wolfgang's obviously not round, but he is going to go into this rounded shape and get a curve. So I can use those lines. Now, I don't have to push him all the way down into the bottom. This is a slump mold, and I can kind of line him up here and get an idea about where I want him to be. And I'm going to actually push him down a little further. Actually, you know what? Let's just see how far down we can push old Wolfgang here, so that we get him down in the bottom, so that we have a nice bowl dish shape. And you'll notice what I'm doing is I'm pushing him in stages all the way around, trying to keep pressure as even as I can. And there, we've got him down in the bottom of the bowl. Now, does he have to make the bowl shape? No. But in this case, we're doing him into the bowl shape. One other thing about Wolfgang you might not have noticed is he's not exactly an even pattern. Doesn't have to be. The rule book does not say anything about patterns and things having to be absolutely symmetrical. And which is okay. I don't mind things being a little asymmetrical. All right, so now we have got Wolfgang in the bowl mold, press down in there. There he is. And we're going to leave him. We're going to leave him in there for an hour or so. Then we'll pull him out. We'll let him rest a little bit, clean up the edges, take care of the foot, and then we will be back with Wolfgang. Hey folks, well, I'm back an hour later. So yeah, I took the sweater off. It's getting warm here in the studio. So remember, we're curving the flat. So part one, we made a bowl. When we took a bowl, we made a plate. A bowl shape goes inside of that bowl in what we call slump mold. Well, I left it in there so it would dry. Some of the moisture, because this was a bisque-fired mold, is seeped into the bisque bowl and has stiffened up the clay that's in there. And I did cover it with a t-shirt. Now, I use t-shirts a lot to just cover things because it lets them dry without letting too much moisture out, too much moisture in. It keeps things a little bit even. Okay, and remember, this is something, like I said, you can do at home. So here it is. Remember this? That's what we put in there, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take it out now, and we're going to put a finish on it. Now, I'm keeping this simple. So basically, I'm going to put my hand inside, flip it over, and lift the bowl mold off. Flip this over, and there's our little plate, okay? Now, you can do several things to this. We are going to do a third part. This part might be fairly short, but we're going to do a third part. And that's on decorating these. You can do several things with this. Now, what I'm going to do with this one to keep it simple, I'm going to set it on the table, make sure it doesn't rock, and just using the flats of my fingers, push it down so that it doesn't roll, okay? Then we have the edges. Now, there's several ways you can fix the edge. We don't want a sharp edge. Not that you're going to get cut, but you have the possibility of chipping it if you're using it, and you don't want to do that. Generally what I do is I take a sponge, and this is not a wet sponge. This sponge is just damp, barely. I put it in water, I wring it out till I almost wring the, well, I'll call it bejesus out of it. And then I can use it just to come around and smooth the edges. Okay? You guys see that? Now, if this, you don't want to make it too wet or you start separating the clay and leaving big lumps. So you can also, once this is dried, you can take it outside in the wind and use a piece of very fine sandpaper, or what I use, and I don't have any here, are the green scrubby pads. And I can just scrub those edges off so it's nice and smooth. Okay, we could do other things to this. Well, like remember this mold? Well, it was like this, now it's like this. I could turn this over, and I could add a foot, I could add feet, I could add anything I wanted to the bottom of this. And for fun, instead of doing that, I could add antennas and make a spaceship or something, and so this is now the top instead of the bottom. But we're going to keep it as a plate. Now, I know you probably don't have a lot of clay at home. Yeah, you could go out in the backyard and dig some. You could do a lot of things. But we were talking earlier, and Mark Arnold, who is also at Pocosin, he has a recipe for homemade air dry clay. Now, that said, he's going to get that recipe and he's going to air it here on the Pocosin Arts channel. And you will be able to go buy the materials, put together the materials, make your own clay, and do things like we just did here. Okay, to recap real quick, this is a bisque-fired bowl. If you use a bowl that's plastic or glass or anything else, metal, you need to put a liner in it to keep the clay from sticking. This, I like these because I can take this, put it in there, it will dry some, and when it dries enough, I can just flip it over and it falls right out of my hand like it did. Okay, we are going to end this now. I appreciate you guys watching. Pocosin Arts has some great things coming up, and we hope to see you there in the not too distant future. And again, I'm Dick Heiser, Edenton Bay Clay Works, and if you follow us up on our next video, we're going to be doing decorations on this plate and showing you some other decorating techniques using underglazes. All right, guys, have a great one. See you later.